Okay, today I'm going to talk about the one thing that scares people about dry fasting, which drives them into water fasting, which is not fasting, it's a water diet. I'll go into that in a different video. When you restrict your water, your blood starts thickening up because you're peeing about a quart of water a day while you're not drinking water. So water's coming out of the body, the blood gets thicker, the solids that accumulate in the blood stimulate osmoreceptors on the hypothalamus, which stimulates the release of peptides from the pituitary gland. One in particular is antidiuretic hormone. This goes into the bloodstream, goes to the renal medulla, and releases epinephrine. What that does is the epinephrine goes into the bloodstream and starts hitting the lipase in the fat cells to unbind the triglycerides back into glycerol and free fatty acids. The reason it does this, it's called fat for fuel, but it's also fat for water, is because when the glycerol goes to the liver, it makes the plasma glucose to keep your brain and blood alive. When the free fatty acids, go into the cells, all 37 trillion of them, it starts making ATP. In that citric acid cycle, where these free fatty acids are broken down at a little lengths to enter the cycle, it produces water as a byproduct, not just ATP. And as you can see in this video, this is happening all the time in every cell, this kind of production of ATP, because ATP is your energy material for the entire body. In fact, the way this works is 1 gram of fat will produce 110 grams of water. That's why you keep peeing a quart every day after the second day, after you turn on fat cells to produce your fuel and your blood sugar. You end up peeing a quart of water because you're making a surplus of water. But it's different because this is water made inside of the cells. It's pure H2O, and it causes a positive pressure inside the cells, which helps flush the cells out of the toxins and the debris that are accumulating and being released by the lysosomes, that are what are dissolving proteins and old folded proteins and that kind of stuff. Goes in the lymphatic system and is deposited into the bowel, where you end up with this orange goo at the end of the dry fast. That's all these toxins that come out of the cells. So you keep peeing a quart all through about a day, all through the dry fast. You lose tons of weight because you're tapping your fat cells. So there's this added benefit of dry fasting, of weight loss, significant amount of fat loss. But the cool thing about dry fasting is, because you're not drinking water and you're turning on your hypothalamus and your pituitary, the pituitary releases growth factors, which keeps your muscles protected from being eaten up in gluconeogenesis. You want to use the glycerol in the fat cells for plasma glucose, not your tissues in the skeletal muscles and the heart or any of your other organs. The reason why I don't water fast. So that's really the whole thing. People are afraid of, restricting water for 3 days because most of the people have eaten their whole lives. They've never had this experience of stopping eating, stopping digestion, turning on all these body cleaning and regeneration processes. That's what dry fasting is. That's what the Phoenix Protocol is. It's dry fasting plus dry fasting plus some nutraceuticals that allows you to enhance the effects of the dry fast, enhance the effects of additional blood cells from the bone marrow, enhances the effects of the synthesis of NAD+, which turns on sirtuins to correct genetic damage and enact genetic repair inside the cells. Dry fasting is really quite remarkable, and it cleans things up. But that's the whole thing with water. You don't need water during a dry fast because you don't need water while you sleep. You're dry fasting when you sleep. You're not eating, you're not drinking, I presume. And that's why this is just a natural process. When you extend that sleep metabolism long enough, the body has a chance to keep your chaperone-mediated autophagy going, to get rid of all these old broken proteins that accumulate in the cells that end up in the cells and not being able to be ground up because they're too big to get out of the cells, unless they're ground up. And that causes all kinds of problems later on, senescent cells, which is why you take the Fisetin. Always take the Fisetin, because it gets rid of senescent cells that are always being created in the body. And but you don't need the water. You'll make your own water. It's pure water. It's what Gerald Pollack talked about. This is that fourth phase of water, and it's completely makes sheets around the cells and inside the cells, and it's a fantastic thing that only dry fasting creates. That's why we don't drink water. Your body makes plenty of it. Anyway, I've got to get around to this yard today. It's a mosquito breeding ground, so I got to shut that down. And I mentioned in yesterday that I'm not apolitical. I'm pretty much apolitical. I don't really get into any of that stuff, but I do kind of help prevent situations that may occur in the future due to some of the silly shit going on. And so this is a 400 watt solar power generator, and I got a couple of batteries that it charges up all day long, and I can run a freezer 24 hours a day for free off the sun. It's just a safeguard in case we live in a zone of hurricanes down here, so if the power goes off, keep the food refrigerated. Just a simple thing. Anyway, prepping is part of the deal these days. I encourage it. I encourage getting stuff you need to survive. And that's about it. Don't worry about water. You make your own. Don't worry about what all these other things are doing. You can always prepare. But today it's going to be weed back the backyard. And I might even use the electricity made by this to do it for free. Anyway, that's it for today. I will talk to you tomorrow, and have a great day.
Yes?
We have a message. Can you remind people to subscribe, please, sir?
What now?
Please.
Oh, very well.
If